Eastwood, a Hollywood legend, just brutally slammed woke Hollywood, and let me tell you something, they are furious. You guys have got to check out what he just said.
There's 23 million unemployed people in this country. This administration hasn't done enough to cure that.
Clint Eastwood, a Hollywood legend, is one of the few who has held firm against woke ideology in Hollywood. He has long been ambiguous about correctness, both politically and in the movie industry. And today, we will look at times when he spoke out openly against this societal construct. During the 1973 Oscars, he made headlines, which remained a watershed point in his career.
I don't know if I should present this award on behalf of all the cowboys shot in all the John Ford westerns over the years.
That night, Marlon Brando withdrew his Oscar for The Godfather, and Native American activist Sachin Littlefeather took his place to speak out against Hollywood's persecution of Native Americans. The mood was tight, but Clint didn't hold back his comments.
They're all concerned with the human dilemma and our confrontation with the fates. Human beings engulfed in a lunatic dictatorship. Men brutalized by their fellow men in a hostile river. Families ripping up their old roots.
This statement sparked outrage at the time, but not in the same way that it does today. While few people laughed at his joke back in 1973, the tale has resurfaced almost 50 years later, eliciting new criticism. Social media erupted with condemnation, labeling his words as improper and even racist, with demands to cancel him. But Clint Eastwood isn't one to apologize, so the attempt to cancel him faded swiftly.
What did you make of what happened tonight?
Well, listen, I think it depends on which side you're on in all of this. Obviously, people are going to try to find negatives if you're on the left.
Clint comes from an age that didn't analyze every word, and a joke was just that, a joke. He has also said unequivocally that he does not take political sides, preferring to remain open to different points of view, rather than adopting a certain ideology.
That's the thing though, in today's world, if you just mind your own business and stay out of politics, the left is going to drag you into this war whether you like it or not. They're going to say your silence is complicit to all this hatred and bigotry that's going on in the world. No, it's not. Let me conduct myself the way I want to conduct myself and stop telling me how I'm supposed to act. I'll tell you what though, did you read that headline? It said Clint Eastwood returned all the Oscars. I don't know if that's accurate or not. It reminds me of the movie Cars, where there was a distinguished old car who won all these titles and championships, and the car says, I worked all my life for these championships and they mean absolutely nothing to me now. I think that's very similar to how Clint Eastwood feels, where he worked his whole life in Hollywood to achieve this praise and recognition from his peers, and then he realizes now it was all worthless. It meant nothing in the end. Because these people are the biggest hypocrites and duplicitous people in the world today.
It's not the younger generation, it's the older generation now. The younger generation's fine.
However, that one episode is not the only reason he remains a target of the woke culture. For decades, Clint has spoken out against political correctness, claiming that it undermines Hollywood's authenticity. While others in the sector are wary, he stands firm in his ideas. This great actor and director, who is now old, has had enough of the political correctness that has taken over the profession.
He talked about political correctness in a new Esquire magazine interview. Here's the quotes. Everybody's getting tired of political correctness. Kissing ass I'm sorry I used that word. Generation we're in right now. Everybody's walking on eggshells.
Clint's remarkable career, which includes classics such as Dirty Harry and Unforgiven, has solidified his tough guy reputation. Beyond his film appearances, his unwavering outlook has maintained him in the public spotlight. Let's review one of his most iconic comments, which wonderfully captures his plain demeanor.
Oh, you're gonna look awfully silly with that knife sticking up your ass.
Clint Eastwood's whole oeuvre exemplifies this technique. From Unforgiven to $1 Million Baby to American Sniper, he's consistently pushed the envelope, telling tales that dive deeply into human nature. These are the films that once characterized Hollywood, raw, authentic, and fearless of criticism. Today, however, such storytelling is becoming more uncommon, as the business prefers safer storylines that avoid any possible offense.
Are afraid to admit that they maybe made a mistake, so it's better to be overly defensive and just say, well, I'm voting for him again. I just tried to give people, when I was at the RNC.
He's been outspoken about this transition in the business, expressing dissatisfaction with how directors increasingly eschew taking chances in favor of conforming to popular trends. Clint believes that movies should reflect reality, even if it is hard to watch.
I just wanted the real people, the real victims of it all, to get some sort of relief that the truth is put out there.
Clint's 2020 film Richard Jewell questioned popular narratives once again, focusing on the tale of a man wrongfully condemned by the media. The film demonstrated his dedication to exposing important tales, even if they contradict Hollywood's dominant norms.
And then people can gang up against you for no particular reason, or they have just a small amount of information, and they just run off with that.
However, Clint's opposition to Hollywood's political correctness is not limited to his films. It is a part of who he is. He has established a reputation for being unashamedly himself.
The argument can be made that this attitude is what draws people to Clint Eastwood in the first place. The fact that he's not going to bend the knee to the woke crowd, he's not going to abide by their own rules. He's going to be himself, and he's going to talk about issues that are going on in the world that he's passionate about. Like the Richard Jewell movie. That man was a hero. He was trying to do the right thing in the Atlanta Olympics in, I think, the year 2000. But the media was jumping on him to make him the perpetrator of the crimes that were committed that day, and then that almost ruins his life, even though he did absolutely nothing wrong. Because we often think nowadays, it's 2025, of course the media is right. The media is never wrong. We shouldn't be taking their word as gospel, and we shouldn't have this mob mentality. But that's just the sad state of the world today. The sad thing about today's society is that many people just have group think. They don't have cognitive dissonance. They can't make up their own decisions for themselves. They have to be told what to believe. And if you take one thing away from Clint Eastwood, have it be. Be yourself. Don't just believe what everybody else believes because they tell you to. And have some critical thinking in your life.
I need to make a film about this.
No, not until I read the whole story, the way he designed it, and the fact that he did kind of a spiritual take without making it necessarily.
He's not interested in following trends or catering to the so-called woke crowd. He's here to tell tales that matter because they are authentic.
It's a cultural thing. It expresses embarrassment or insecurity. It's not that they're laughing at you or anything.
You people are nuts.
One good example is Gran Torino, in which Clint portrays a combat veteran who comes to accept his Hmong neighbors. It's a picture that doesn't shy away from difficult discussions, and it's all the more compelling because of it. His character's inability to sugarcoat his comments reflects Clint's attitude towards life. He's not trying to create flawless people. He's interested in capturing the rawness of the human experience.
I liked the character because he's a guy who, I like playing the character because he's a guy who's old school, he's from another generation, he's haunted by some of the things in his past, but he's also, he talks to people in a way that people used to talk.
Well, I think you're an overeducated 27-year-old version.
Even before the movie hits theaters, Gran Torino might be labeled as overly contentious. But Clint wouldn't have it any other way. He's never been hesitant to confront controversial topics, no matter how the woke crowd reacts.
You did two things wrong. One is you asked a question, and two is you asked another question.
This kind of certainty comes but just once in a lifetime.
Every gun makes its own tune.
An accident is fate. Murder is evil.
Despite his success, Clint has never met Hollywood standards. He doesn't pander to the correct people or repeat the appropriate talking points to fit in. His reluctance to change has made him a legend in the profession. Even after stepping away from the spotlight, he remains a symbol of rebellion, fearless of being labeled obsolete by detractors. Clint is unconcerned. He continues to produce pictures and voice his mind. Clint is still directing pictures at the age of 94, with the same determination that he has displayed throughout his career. His distinct technique has also sparked appreciation from younger performers, who appreciate his commitment to portraying tales with depth and honesty.
He did a fine job. No, I love the guy. No, seriously. Both. No. I say that because he's like, it's like, guess what? Mount Rushmore just came down from South Dakota, and you're working for him now.
In a day when many people are afraid to express themselves, Clint Eastwood remains a steady voice.
Talk about a stark contrast between two actors, Clint Eastwood and Tom Hanks. I've heard a lot of suspect things about Tom Hanks and none of them were savory. Whereas Clint Eastwood, I have not heard anything of that sort. But I'll tell you what, Eastwood is a man that is exceptionally rare in today's society. He's one of the last of a dying breed. It reminds me of when men were men. They did not make excuses for everything. They didn't complain. They manned up and they faced everything that was in front of them with everything at their disposal. And it's not like this is the way Clint Eastwood used to be. He's still acting that way to this very day. I mean, for goodness sake, the man is 94, 95 years old, and yet he's still working. He's still trying to convey this message to millions of Americans. You have to respect this man's tenacity. I mean, this actor's body of work is so vast. I don't even know where to begin to name some of my favorite things that he's done. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. What are your favorite things that Clint Eastwood has ever been a part in? My personal favorite might be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, because I just love that soundtrack and that main theme especially. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.